we are going to turn our attention back to the SEC, back to the South, and let's bring in Bama Online insider Tim Watts. Tim, big win today, Alabama's final home game of the season. What's your assessment of how this team has grown since that opening season loss to FSU?
I mean, it's been a really rough schedule, obviously, but we've seen them step up and come together. Lost a tough one to Oklahoma, obviously, but their run, that 6-game window they had, was the toughest I can remember while covering Alabama. I mean, it was ranked opponents, and if your opponent wasn't ranked during that stretch, you were playing LSU, who you knew had a lot of talent. You knew you're playing at South Carolina, which is can be a formidable place to play.
Mm-hmm.
I think they've improved to the point where we know where they're at, but they really need to win the game at Auburn to take that next step, or it'll be very similar to what happened last year. But as a team overall, I think the defense has been outstanding. I think they gave up 34 yards today. I understand it wasn't the Green Bay Packers. I understand who they're playing, but 34 yards to anybody is really tough to pull off.
Yeah. So I feel like this team has kind of grown along with Ty Simpson. Who stepped up on offense? Because we know Ryan Williams has had the ups and downs, but who's really stepped up and been the workhorse for Bama on offense?
It's bad timing here, but one of the surprises was Josh Cuevas, who was out today with a foot injury, and there's no determination on when he'll be back, but I think he's been really big. A personal favorite of mine is Jeremy Bernard. I don't think you could ask for more on or off the field. He does a little bit of everything from leadership to talent. Both of those guys have stepped up in the passing game. Ty, of course, has came a long way from that FSU game, which was his first start. Pretty hostile environment, and kind of got behind early in that game. It took a 7-0 lead, but then got behind and never really grasped and came back into that game a whole lot. But I think he's taken the steps you're looking forward to. Right now, I think it's just a tired team. Today, what you saw was Alabama. I think they had 8 rushing touchdowns. They just wanted to get through this game, no injuries, and get on to next week's game in Jordan-Hare.
Yeah. So we've seen a lot of commits on the sidelines. Today wasn't the biggest of recruiting weekends. Last weekend was a lot bigger. But, every week in, week out, we see these 5-star recruits on the sideline. So which of these guys from the 2026 class are we going to see being contributors next year on the field?
I think it's going to be really hard to keep a Xavier Kroll off the field. I think he's a no-brainer 5-star running back. I mean, he just tears it up. If you give him 20 carries, he's going for 200-plus yards. That's a guarantee. Watch him every Friday night. He's got that big game ability. He's hard to bring down. He's strong. He's fast. He's been at every game, and obviously, he's a big-time prospect with everybody that was pushing so hard for him. Leaped ahead one year, similar to what Ryan Williams did. I guess it's super popular now. Everybody can just go when I was growing up, reclassifying was called failing, and you reclassified backwards. And I had to go to summer school a few times to avoid reclassifying. But I think he's a guy that you're looking at. Jaira Edwards, I'm a huge fan of him. He can be a contributor. I think definitely on special teams. He's going to have some other safeties back there to work with, but he's different. When you watch him on tape, he's different. He flies to the ball. He's fast. He was aggressive. He plays everywhere, cornerback, safety, linebacker on one of the best teams in the country. Inside, I'm looking at Nolan Wilson. Alabama struck some gold last year with London Simmons, who contributed as a freshman, came from small ball in Mississippi. Nolan's a guy that's really grown into himself. And what I'm really particular watching closely is Xavier Griffin, because you remember last year Alabama got a big win in Justin Hill. He put on some weight. We've seen him play a lot this year at that linebacker, that outside linebacker position they use. Xavier can play inside or outside. He is one of the fastest prospects I've ever seen get into a football. So if he can get that weight, I think that's going to be key. Get that weight that you get when you move to college. He's got a chance to play early too.
Yeah. So when signing day just isn't what it used to be. You and I have been covering recruiting I've been covering for almost 20 years, over 20 years from you. Nowadays, signing day is almost just like a celebration of the class. It doesn't have the fireworks that it used to. There are some. So as we sit here, 10 days from signing day, what should Bama fans be watching down the stretch? Any needs left to fill here?
I think the staff is looking at some guys. I think they're kicking some tires. We knew heading into this on BOL, we reported they were going to be heavy in the portal. That was going to be a big one. The window was going down to 1, they anticipated. They wanted to be active in the portal. I mean, I imagine that's just 2 weeks of chaos for everybody.
Mhm.
So I think they're okay where they're at now, but if they can find a gym, and they found some late last year that they like, I think they'll take it. But right now, I think you're at the stage of just holding on to what you've got, keeping the key players in the class. They had Max Sutter, who I think's one of the elite tight ends in the country. He was on campus, and he hasn't been able to make a lot of games. So that was a big one today, him showing up.
Yeah, he was enjoying his time there with Roll Tide Willie, having a good
Mhm.
old time on the sidelines in
Yeah.
Tuscaloosa. All right, Tim, that's it. But I wanted to get your opinion on this Lane Kiffin stuff.
Hey, I thought that was it. I didn't know I was committed to Lane Kiffin. I mean, I covered him at Alabama. Obviously, he's quite the character. I'm not sure why people are surprised with what's going on. I mean, it's funny to me. Everyone knows where he's going. I think Lane Kiffin knows what he's going to do. I think I'm not positive. I think I know what he knows what he's going to do, but I don't believe anybody's got a great read on this. I mean, you look at times Ole Miss thinks they have a chance, then they don't. I know y'all had Ben Garrett on earlier. I've talked to him about it. I talked to Shay Dixon on the LSU side. I've texted with the Florida guys. It's just Lane Kiffin. I mean, he's going to do these situations, and it's going to be interesting because that's a lot of distractions having to go play the Egg Bowl, and that's another the Mississippi version of the Iron Bowl. There's a lot of weird things that happen in that game, but it's I'm excited. I'll be watching Saturday to see what he does.
Yeah, and you covered Lane at Alabama. You got to know him a little bit. Do you think he's this great coach that should be highly coveted, or do you think this is like the perfect storm of who's available and a couple very, desperate SEC programs?
Um, I just feel like there's not a ton of great college coaches in football right now. I think there's more good than great. I mean, I think people keep waiting for the great. Obviously, Kirby Smart is elite. You put him right at the top of that thing. I think until Lane wins something, he'll never go to that great category. But that's any coach. You've got to win. You got to win an SEC championship, a national championship. I think he has a chance this year to make the playoffs and make some noise. And certainly doing it at Ole Miss would put him in that upper stratosphere category. But I think you're right. This is a perfect storm. You had I don't even know how many openings they are. I'd forgot Arkansas was open. It happened so long ago. I'd forgot that was even the case. But you've got schools like Florida, who obviously think he can coach, LSU, Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And look at his history. Somebody thinks he can coach. He's coached Tennessee. He's coached at Alabama. He's coached USC. He's coached for Al Davis. Somebody thinks he can coach. So I definitely think that's the case, that he's capable of
Yeah.
running a football program.
Do you think there could be, when this carousel gets spinning, you never know where it's going to stop? Is there anybody on the Bama staff that could be up for a job? Maybe not even a head job, but is there anybody on Bama staff that you could see, elevating?
I think so. Jamarcus Shepard's did some interviews with Oregon State. I don't know where that sits right now, but they've interviewed him. I know at least twice per our Oregon State
Yeah.
site. Kane Womack is a popular name, especially at Arkansas. And look what his defense did this year. And you got to remember, he gave up a head coaching job at a smaller South Alabama to come and prove he's ready for that next level. He's certainly upped his stock this year. I think that's a couple that jumped to mind. Ryan Grubb, I haven't really heard his name mentioned, but I mean, this is a guy that was pretty highly thought of as an offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
But Coach Seattle was OC at Seattle, so there's candidates for sure. No sudden movement yet, but again,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are waiting to get over this season. There's a whole lot of openings. I don't even know if there's enough coaches to fill them.
We're going to find out. I mean,
Yeah.
we will find out soon. Thank you, Tim Wads, joining us today on Recruit Reaction from Bama Online. Tim runs a phenomenal site over there with Andrew Bone and the boys. Go check it out. Also hit like and subscribe here to the Rivals Recruit channel because we're just over a week from signing day. Things are about to heat up. Now,